you like yourself one day and dislike yourself the day after? That strange shift. One day you are fine, maybe even proud of yourself, and the next day, without warning, the light goes out. You look in the mirror and something is off. You are the same person as yesterday. Same face, same life, same problems. But suddenly, you don't like yourself. And the question creeps in. Why do I feel this way about myself when nothing has changed? It is not about what happened. It is about what we believe. Deep down, about life itself. Because here is the truth we rarely say out loud. Our ability to love ourselves is directly tied to how we understand the world around us. If it feels pointless, we start to feel pointless. If the world feels harsh, we turn that harshness inward. So the question is, what story about life am I believing, and where do I see myself in it that makes me like or dislike myself? Still here, listening? That probably means you are mildly entertained or deeply disturbed. Either way, hit the like button so the algorithm knows we are bounding. And if you are into this kind of talk on a regular basis, subscribe. Because therapy is expensive and this channel is free. So as we have explored together over the past 5 episodes, our identity is layered like skin. Each one distinct, but only together do they show the full truth. Strip one away and you miss the whole. We have peeled back these layers. The daughter, the wife, the career climber, the good girl, the rebel. Each mask, each title, each decade brought its own version of self. But here is what we haven't talked about yet. The other half of the identity. Not who we are, but how we make sense of where we are. There is more to selfhood than roles and labels. That's our interpretation of the world, our understanding of life itself, its meaning, its structure, its rules, or lack of them. That understanding shapes us just as much as our past, our culture, or our relationships. See, it's not who we are that builds our identity. It's what we believe the world is, what we think we are inside of, what we think the point of this whole human experiment might be. And that brings us here to this question. Do I like myself or do I like what I think life is? Because if your internal world says none of these matters, then you might start to feel like you don't matter. If the script you were handed is chaos, disconnection, or constant comparison, how could you possibly build self-love on top of that? So today, we are not just asking, who am I? We are asking, what lens am I looking through and see myself in this human experience on the earth? And how is that lens shaping the way I identify myself? How do we love ourselves when we don't know why we are here? Because let's be honest, this whole being alive thing feels like a loop sometimes. Wake up, eat, stress, poop, work, scroll, laugh, cry, make dinner, pass out, and repeat. We have done it what? Thousands of times now? At some point, we all pause and ask, are we just here to perform daily routines until the batteries run out? Or is there something else beneath all these repetition? I know it's dark, but it's damn true. A teacher once gave me this example about understanding of life, and it has never left me. Imagine you are touching something huge in the dark. You feel that. It's round like a column. You think, oh, I've got it. It's a stone pillar. But what you're actually touching is an elephant's leg. That is what our understanding of life is. We are all just blindly groping at existence, making guesses based on fragments, confident in conclusions drawn from partial truths. We don't even know what we are touching, let alone what it means. And I'll be honest, that drives me crazy. Not just the not knowing, but how carelessly we move through life pretending we do. How casually we operate as if this whole thing isn't profoundly strange. How can we talk about purpose, about goals, about loving ourselves or others if we don't even know what we are inside of? It's like being handed a role in a play with no script, no genre, no plot. Just stage directions written in a language we barely speak. But maybe that's the point. Maybe life isn't about understanding everything. Maybe it's about having the courage to keep reaching in the dark. Maybe it's having the courage to say you don't understand it and still choosing connection, even when we don't know what we are part of. This is where I am. This is what I know. This is my best understanding of life so far in my 40s. How about you? Share your perspective and thoughts. The truth is, we are born alone and we die alone. And in between, we walk this bizarre, beautiful, lonely journey inside the body, inside the mind. No one else fully understands. Even the people closest to us can live inside us. No one can carry our thoughts, our memories, our pain exactly as we do. And here is the paradox that life doesn't warn us about. We are completely alone, yet completely connected. So what is the point? Maybe the point of life isn't some glowing achievement. Maybe it's not a title or a soulmate or even fulfillment. Maybe the whole point is this: to find a connection, to recognize humanity in each other, to remember we were never meant to be divided by bloodlines, borders, or belief systems. Maybe the meaning is this: we don't have to give birth to a human to feel responsible for one. We don't need genetic ties to feel a child is ours. We don't need paperwork or family trees to feel heartbreak for a stranger's pain. That moment when we look at any child and feel they are our child, that's the moment we become fully human. That is the moment we stop asking, why am I here, and start living it. The highest form of understanding in this life is every soul on this earth is part of us. Not metaphorically, not spiritually, actually. If we felt this truth in our bones, if we acted like it was real, this chaotic, divided, violent world would start to heal. We wouldn't just protect our own, we would protect everyone. We wouldn't wait for disaster to care. We would care because we exist together. The end of individualism is not the end of identity. It's the beginning of true connection. And maybe that's the biggest lessons of all. We are here to love beyond ourselves. Not because it's easy, not because it's natural, but because it's the only thing that makes this lonely ride called life meaningful. we remember that even though this journey is solo, it is also sacredly shared. We are walking with 8 billion other souls, all trying to figure out why they are here. So maybe the meaning of life isn't a prize. Maybe it's a choice to choose tenderness over detachment, to choose connection over performance, to choose responsibility not just for our own, but for everyone. And to love ourselves not after we figure it all out, but precisely while we are still fumbling through it. There is something powerful, almost sacred, that happens when we stop seeing ourselves isolated, individual units, and start seeing ourselves as threads in a vast human tapestry. This idea that we belong to something bigger can change everything. Not just how we treat others, but how we treat ourselves. When we believe we are alone, floating in a meaningless, disconnected universe, then every flaw, every failure, every moment of uncertainty feels personal, heavy, like we are broken, or behind, or somehow not enough. But if we are not separate, what if we are part of something massive and unfolding, a collective becoming that we can't fully see yet? What if your pain isn't a glitch, but part of a pattern to get somewhere? What if your confusion isn't failure, but formation? Here's how I've come to see it. We all started in a circle, not metaphorically, but cosmetically, spiritually, energetically. Call it the womb, call it creation, call it the source, whatever you feel comfortable calling it. And whether we realize it or not, we are all just walking that same circle together, each on our own curved path. Some ahead, some behind, some spinning in place. But all of us moving along the same loop. And just like any other circle, there is no real start or end. Go far enough around and you are back where you began. But something shifts when you zoom all the way out. When you rise so high above that circle that the line becomes so tight, so curved, it looks like a dot. In that dot, there is no timeline, no beginning, no conclusion, just being, just oneness. That's what we belong to. And when you realize that, when you let that idea settle into your bones, self-love becomes less about proving you are special and more about remembering you are part of something. It is not about being important alone. It is about being included. Woven in, held, known. Suddenly, the need to compare, perform, or punish yourself softens. You stop demanding constant clarity. You start making peace with mystery. And maybe that's the truest self-love of all. To remember, you are not here apart from the world. You are here as the world. A circle within a circle. A soul within the whole. So ask yourself, when have you felt a deep soul-level connection to someone outside your immediate circle? What did that feel like? What would change if we treated every child like they were ours? What kind of world would we build if we all saw humanity as one big, messy, miraculous family? This is the end of first question. Who am I in my 40s? And no, we did not find the answer. Not because we failed, but because we realized something deeper. That question was never meant to stand alone. Because once you begin to peel back the layers of your identity, once you have looked at your roles, your past, your body, your beliefs, the question of who am I now naturally transforms. It expands. It becomes, what am I doing here? What is this life, this system, this world that I am part of? And how does understanding that shape who I become? We started by searching for self, but self cannot be fully understood without understanding the context it lives in. You are not just a person. You are a consciousness in motion inside a culture, inside a family, inside a planet, inside a mystery. So maybe we didn't answer who am I, but that's because identity isn't the final question. It is the first. And now we ask the following questions. Why am I here? What do I want now? That is where we go next. Next episode, we start the next arc. What do we want now? An honest exploration of what our soul actually wants in our 40s. Can't wait to talk to you all in the next episode.